has happened?
Every time I'm in the forest, if it's a forest fresh, get me?
Yeah.
Everything is forest fresh. I feel, I don't know, like rejuvenated. Yeah.
It's been a while without you here. Within that while,
Yes.
you gave birth.
I gave
Congratulations.
birth.
I mean, you
yeah,
and
I know what you
gave
mean. I know what you mean. Yes. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I think Simba. A friend of mine keeps on telling me, "Hey, Mwana, Mufasa yazadde Simba," and I always tell him, "Man, I don't like the way Mufasa died. The only thing I don't like about that story is how Mufasa died."
Yeah.
But I like that. I kind of see myself as Zamba Simba because there's a continuation into the story of the Lion King that now we have Giveon, you get me, following up in that line. And I could only be grateful at this age of mine. Yeah.
And it only makes sense because, well, the foundation of Baboon 4 is basically based on that as well.
Yes. I think we are the only label that has, I might be bragging, but it's only natural.
Yeah.
We're the only label that really has the universal concept of longevity or perpetuity or everything like being symbiotic in its design. Like the name Baboon Forest isn't just because it's a funny name, but it's because it's about an ecosystem, a forest that provides. What does the monkey symbolize in all African stories? The monkey symbolizes wisdom. Even when you watch the film The Lion King, what does the baboon do in that film? The baboon is the one that reminds the king that Gwe ochali muzanyo. Your kingdom needs you. What are you doing here? You never timon ne pumba, you're eating slugs. You're a lion. You're a lion, my G. Mwana anti ndali na stress you pa ne mukuba omuti. Amuga chali wango nkubidde ki ne mugamba soko tunulire mazzi tunulire ancestors boche bagamba. So for us, our design has culture that we're connecting ourselves back to our ancestors. There's that wisdom. Whenever the monkey Ezekiel appears in an African story, there's a moral to be learned or a story to be told. And what does the forest represent? The forest represents emiti emito gigumiza ekibira emikulu ne gikola ki ne gigiwa structure. And when you think about a forest, you think about something being abundant and plentiful. Muitamu emiga, muitamu like all kinds of other species. So I really take pride in our name, Ochitege, and every time I come back, I'm reminded of our vision and our purpose. Yeah.
All right. So what have you been up to in the US?
If I have to tell you, I have to kill you, my G.
I need my life.
You need your life, yes. Yeah.
I've seen fans online, you know.
Yes.
Obviously. Have been complaining about the schedule of your music. Like, why do you take too long to release music?
I think our fans are a little bit impatient, but I won't blame my fans at all. I'll take it. I'll take it to my chest and be like, yeah, sometimes I take long without releasing music. But so does Kendrick Lamar. So does Dr. Dre. So does Rick Ross, J. Cole.
Yeah.
Like, you see these people online every time, but they take like 3 years between projects. When my last project was 4 years ago. Yeah. But I've been giving you some singles. I know singles are not what you want. People are used to the GNL who is prolific, all the time prolific. But I think I took the time out to grow. If you ask me what I've been doing, I've been growing. I've been learning. I've been a student of life. I've been a fan of life. I've been observing. Learning doesn't end. You know, I've been learning from the best. I've been observing. I've been looking back at my own life and reflecting. So I think with everything to do with music, you have to say something on a microphone when there's something to be said.
Yeah.
If your voice is not saying something, then you're just, like you're putting out hot garbage. Even garbage is hot. Wale tudeko kasasiro kuntumu ya kasasiro. Fabaira mu ghetto fa solo kugamba. Te kasasiro abayo. I can put out hot garbage, but what am I saying? Yeah.
Right. Speaking of growing, going back to your first album.
Yes.
You were talking at Kawempe, the Ghetto Life.
Yes.
Then speaking vernacular, expanding to Uganda.
Yes.
Like then you came in 2020 with the Spear album.
Yes.
Where you are focusing now on the continent, the world.
Yes. Actually, as you continue, I want to know where that question is going. Soko Jimaleyo, and let me first put a pin in that. Jimaleyo.
You are focusing now on the world. Like
yes.
You're not. You're now Chapa Kubuli continent. Not
just
Kawempe now.
Yes.
Not just
yes.
Uganda.
Yes.
I've heard you're working on a new album. Should we expect
So, yes. I like that thinking. Yes.
Should Ugandans expect, because with all that body of work,
yes,
your latest project, Ugandans kind of didn't feel it, and they
yes.
were demanding now the old GNL,
yes.
one they used to know.
Yes.
And you're speaking of growth as an artist, as a person.
The Ugandans in Uganda didn't feel it.
Yes, they didn't feel it.
Yes.
So now they are requesting the old GNL.
They are requesting the old GNL.
Should we expect the old Zamba?
This is a very, very loaded question. I need to be very serious, careful with how I answer it. First of all, you said, okay, with this whole body of work, and you've taken time, and you gave us the Spear album.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't, but this Jukina until 2020 was when we put out the Spear album. But it was actually 2020.
Yeah.
Twajita end of 2020.
November.
But to show you that Tuliba genius guy work, I put that album. If you look at the whole campaign, it was about the number 11.
Yeah.
But when the number 11, it shaped in Gafumu, which they get. Chris Brown in Ajana and Kopa. People, I tell people always that sometimes I originate some shit. Like, I start conversations on Twitter, and I see American blogs tweeting about my stuff. But if you tell a Ugandan that, they'll be like, foul now. But like I began really 11. I didn't begin the whole concept of numerology, right? But I think I'm part of putting it up in the ethos. Into 11, in the 11th month, Nabawa 11 tracks. On the 11th day, at exact 11 album in Efuruma. What did Chris Brown do? How many years after? Year Kajita. The Mugama Mantino Yakopa. Nembatela the Renaissance album. Yeah. When did I put out a Renaissance album? That was years ago. Before I knew it, Beyonce is making a Renaissance album. Kale Beyonce siku bragging amuno bibankopa. But sometimes I'm like, great minds think alike, and I'm happy that I'm among great brains, because bongo bange bulo woliza kuleve yo. But I was born in Kawempe, like you pointed out.
Yeah, that's right.
But to point out the Spear album, you said I began Kawempe, expanded to Kampala, did Uganda, East Africa, cut Spear albums more global. But global in a sense that Spear album nalisaga just global until I'm trying to just be global. I wanted to create an album which reflects a Black experience. And the Black experience, Monsi, it's too vast or could you take it just in one album, right? And I'm really proud of the work that I did on that album. How do you define Black people in a global sense? Most people don't see themselves in a global sense. And there's a conversation that needs to be had between Black people in Africa, Black people in America, there are Black people in Europe, there are Black people in Brazil, South America, there are Black people everywhere. But all of them, the reason why we are suffering as a people is because there are so many conversations being had, and instead of uniting, every time there's an opportunity to unite, they find a reason to be divided. What should happen? Yeah. The movie Black Panther tried to portray that a little bit as well, with Killmonger and King Chala. Yeah. Chala wamfirika olia very nengo yapa wali ka friction ako. We are cousins, you get me? But there is a battle that's also going on between who we are. So in the vision of like a Marcus Garvey, a Malcolm X, a Martin Luther, Nzenga storyteller, what was my statement that I was meant to put out? Remember 2020 was Black Lives Matter. Yeah. George Floyd bakavokumota. The whole streets are on fire. So what does a Black man say? Nga or Pan-African, finding yourself in a diaspora, and the diaspora has led to Pan-African movements known as the Slapiemo Africa. Most of them have been birthed from America. But their support came from people in Brooklyn, NAACP. They are closely linked. The Malcolm X's came and did hijaz and try to see the Mobutus and meet with the Nkurumas, and there's a whole conversation there not being talked about anymore. So that's what I was trying to portray. Nga ovudde ne ku politics yekka. Yeah, I wanted to create a solution. I don't want to just complain. So that album attempted, right, at creating that conversation and creating solutions. The Black experience osobola okulaba nti engeri gye nali nyambala kweyo album, it was punk, Afro-punk, Afro-futuristic. Because mu punk, you have a right to express your anger. You're unapologetic. Nali nyambadde kilt. Abaafrika bagiyita na Scot. Name mu kwambala Scot, it was a very self-cautious decision okwambala kilt. That I wanted someone to ask me, GNL, lwaki oyambadde Scot? And I wanted to say, did you ever look at hieroglyphs? Hieroglyphs was money, is from Egypt. Whatever. So even here, as we're having this conversation, everybody who has a phone, go Google a pharaoh. The first pharaohs that ever ruled Nubia, Black Land, where we should be proud of history of Alkebulan, Akzum, Ethiopia, all these empires, that remind us of that we are a great people. That remind us to keep on innovating solutions for our own selves. So when I tap into that history of painting kujinja, because they knew people like us would forget who we are. Right now, you look outside. Look at all the kids abali ebweru. Do you think they're thinking beyond? Do you think they're looking behind, in front to know where they are? Bagenda bugenzi na anti-TikTok Gambia. And this one is viral, but viral for who? Who owns the platform? Why are you doing the dance? There is no thought behind. Okubeera obubezi mu kabox ke bakutaddemu. Ate nga akabox ako gwo kegulidde kati otunulira bwoti. But my things are a little bit deeper. So that album, I think, was a little too deep. Nti bw'ogitunulira, this conversation, this is becoming very long-winded. Well, whatever they call fashion show, nolaba, nogamba, ekyani agenda okyambala nga biri weird shapes omuntu alina kintu kyayambadde. I used to always ask, lwaki babeera bambadde ebintu ebyo which nobody is even going to wear outside? Yeah. The very first thing is that it's art. But then there's also another thing nti people create art pieces like that. Nti omuntu omulala agenda okulabako n'ajjako n'agamba, that shoe is new. Omulala n'agamba, but if a person wears barbed wire like that, nebikola nga omuntu asobola ojjambala, it looks yena atwalaako. Not the whole piece, but you can just remove bits and pieces of that and start conversations in so many different directions. So I try to start so many conversations with one project. And it might take time for people to fully understand that. There's a project Jota, nebagamba, bawe emyaka etaano. Bawe emyaka 10, they'll revisit it and be like, wow, this is where this guy was. By this time, he was so ahead of his time. So that's the Spear album in a nutshell. I'm talking about spaceships, I'm talking about time travel, I'm talking about hieroglyphs and kabakas, the shabakas, abafuganga, Egypt. People don't even know obusisira obuzimbi bwakati mu Uganda. It's because there's a correlation with pyramids. It's temporary, kiri kyalinga permanent. But yeah, we'll get to that conversation. Yes.
Well, you've been based in the US for coming to 10 years now.
Is it 10 years or 7?
2015, coming close to 10 years. How has the international experience, like living in the US, shaped your creativity as a rapper or as an artist?
I changed a lot.
The Spear album was the first thing to confirm that.
So before I recorded the KOYIKOYI album, right? Yeah. I was rapping in English. And every time I rapped in English, people, my schoolmates loved my punchlines. They loved how I expressed myself. But the boda guy was taking me, the taxi guy, gave me music to viva nyumira, and there was a disconnect. So right now I feel like where I'm at, right, is where I was before I recorded the KOYIKOYI album. Like moments before I recorded the KOYIKOYI album, or before that realization, or right in the moment of that inception of that idea, and eureka moment, as say, right? I feel that's where I'm at right now, mentally. That otunulia situation n'ogamba, this Buddha guy is not understanding what I'm rapping about, but I'm rapping in the same language. Jategera, jaguliramu emmere, jakwanisa, bichi bichi, you put all that together. N'ogamba, why is there a disconnect? N'ogamba, oh, you need to remind him nti okurappinga kwatandikira ate mu Africa. Okitegeera? So how has it shaped me that when a man is under a table, abeera ategeera ebiri wansi w'emmeeza, right? Omuntu we bw'omusitula n'omuteeka ku gundi ne ku mmeeza n'abeera ng'atudde, abeera alaba bamwetoolodde. Bw'omuyimusa n'ayimirira ku mmeeza, abeera alaba a higher vantage point. Cheka ne mu kitchen ayinza okuba asobola okulingizalingizaayo, right? So if you lift that man and put him on top of the roof, akasolya, abeera alaba ki? Okitegeera? Then kati omusajja oyo ate mujjaawo omutwale waggulu ku lusozi. You get me? So now you have the vantage point of Kawempe, you have the vantage point of Uganda, you have East Africa, you have Africa, you have the world and the whole entire universe. Ntikati, you're like, how which word do I choose to like really communicate and change ogerako? How do I explain calculus in abacus form? How can I be easily understood in the simplest terms? It isn't what am I going to say? Obviously, I have loads to say, but how do I make sure that the communication is effective? Whatever they call a professor nga, Professor mugezi nnyo bamuwaana wa PhD yawugudde byawaadi naye nga buli gayi lwajja okusomesa mu kibiina kyammwe is boring as fuck. Like nobody understands what he's talking about. It's like he's having conversations in his brain. I'm trying to avoid that. I'm trying to make sure that my fans that you talked about who love the G are just raw or Kawempe, that I do not lose them in the source, because we rap. In the beginning, I was rapping so that people relate to me, so that I'm relatable everywhere across the board. Njogera ku Kikomando, njogera ku Rolex, sina sente za rate landlord amanje nkumi nnya buli wensula buli musala landlord bwabanja musala bukubongo munya. That's the conversation we're having. So right now, I don't want to have the same conversation. This time I want the conversation where we as having a nga twogeranga butuli waneno nenga I want to inspire you to elevate.
All right.
How do we elevate together? Because we can't have the same conversation that we had when we were doing Wuba Katambala. No. We are different. We were boys. We're becoming men. We have now families. Some are like, where's the conversation going? So that's the message I'm crafting, and I think that's my next project. If I'm to do a next project. If I don't just manage people and see that that's the voice that comes out of them, whichever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still in these diaspora artists.
Yes.
I think Ugandans don't usually offer as much support to diaspora artists as much as they offer support to local artists. Do you think it's difficult of releasing music when outside the country? The music that is for the Ugandan audience, but when you are outside. So it's one of the hardest things I think I've ever done is that. It's like really incredibly hard that even it would take a person who thinks creatively from all directions. Like you said, I've been away for almost 10 years, but I still have fans. I know people who left and in 2 months, nobody wants to know. Nobody knows where they are. Basajja tubakoma ku Facebook and whatever, but the brand GNL is still strong. It's strong because boy is a genius. He's great. Yeah. And because you have to constantly keep on innovating. You have to constantly keep on innovating. Bashanks PVD. Bwava wanene basajja batu ne bagenda ebweru, right? They were some of the most creative artists. But technology wasn't as helpful. Ngoteko kuandika ebbaluwa ate ogisindika poster or you lick the stamp. Yeah. Send.
Although if the postman nkuba tetonye baluwa netoba batanywedde mu kirabo, the letter gets there a few months and then nebyoyogerako is no longer connecting. You get me? Yeah. I don't know, maybe I'm assuming it was months. Hey, ogenda kugamba nti gundi bagenda kumuwasa ngate kati wedding wedde. Whatever you're going to talk about, that was like a very big time gap.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that used to affect diaspora artists of back in the day. The things that they used to talk about, nga losing touch with what's here.
Yeah.
Then the second thing is, as a society, honesty is lacking, or trust. Do you know businesses really develop because we trust? Trust basically says, I know that when you give me this piece of paper, the other next guy is going to accept it. That's trust. A business way tandikira. But Uganda can tell you, I don't know how many horror stories I hear where guys like, man, I worked for years, saved money. I worked and toiled and broke my whatever, what. I went back home with these savings. I thought I was set. Nobody even picked me from the airport. And like, hey, then I got to the place which they told me was mine. Shit wasn't even mine. Like, you're like, hey. That's why you hear that story from Chicago. You hear that story in London. You hear that story like everywhere. So it comes to a point where if you have a marketing budget and you're sending it to Kampala and you're sending people 10 million, market my song. Olizo nana aziria. Ochiraba, zolizo nana aziria. Nagamba kayimba kakalo kakuba gecha ndavala mu musigo gwe. Ochitegera. That's what musicians are going through abali ebweru. My producer can't stop laughing. Agamba okawulira. You get me? Then Ogamba, hey, this dude is playing games. So sometimes ne bagamba nayingira mu booth mwenyini we bazanyira omuziki nagamba kati ndina akakuba kati. You get me? So sometimes they even record them. Oh, he's playing on radio now. So he records it once, maybe promotes it once for that week from what they sent. Now the bakazanya muko nasala bukiri bungi nnyo. So every time he says he's playing, nigga, it's the same damn clip. So there's that category of musicians who are suffering. They are really sending money. They are trying to promote themselves. But look at the people they're sending the money to, honestly. Bagezi be Kampala. At Uganda, there's a trust thing. So if a person does that for the first song, second song, third song, now he has an album to promote. Aina sente as because he has the money. Never wandi bie milioni asatu. Never kwadi milioni asatu no bako kale kumi. Lekabit is called something. You get me? Yeah. But manobaba, where shit is like even shameful. You get me? Why shit is like shameful? Why there's like nothing. So you listen to those horror stories from musicians who are actually really, really talented. Nga networking there, afunye producers abakabi, afunye like people shooting for him great videos, everything is set. But he has no team on the ground. So we are lucky that nze nkuba bukubi sim nengamba. Yo, make sure that A, B, C, and D happens in this month. And end of story, you make sure you do stuff, you make sure he does stuff, make sure he does stuff. Some people do not have that luxury because they didn't live here when they were established. So, so what do you category in that? I don't know. This is that question is a very long conversation. Now it begins with trust.
Yeah.
Then some people are not technologically savvy. My website works for me. So GNL Zamba fans know that, hey, this dude is bound to drop a freestyle for us at least once a month. At least we're going to pay something. So I do it for them. Am I going to go to studio? Sometimes I do go to studio. Sometimes I record it in the comfort of my own home. Nenkwatabukwase microphone. I use my duet. The streets need to be fed. I'm in my whatever vest. I buy a good bottle and I pace around with my thoughts. And when I have something nice to say back, enjoy. Some people, bagamba mpozi logica kola they don't know how to use programs at all. Ne TikTok, na bino never be peer to them. So I think for a musician to survive outside, you need to be technologically savvy. Your head on your shoulders must be working, build a team back home. And right now, waliwo ne apps, not apps like Mubanja, tekwa no kunsasula. No, this guy who monitors radio play, the app. Song Boost, yes. There's Song Boost right now that you can't tell me my song is playing. Like, ngambuza bagay bakamanga kasamba kazanya ngam laughing. Because bamusalira bu clip bungi babuwerezanga abiri. Again, realizing, bro, he's wearing the same things. I am but David to give you. Don't you society or segera. But the time he's realizing it's already too late and money has been spent. But for me, I'll be like, have you heard of Song Boost? You can tell your song is playing in real time. Just per subscription. Or gamanyinti, I'm working with a thief within like 2 days. And you save your money. And you can't teach management to people also and being smart. It's like something which is ingrained. So it's up to us again to create bridges that Baboon Forest can handle that work for you.
Okay.
If that's something we're interested in doing, yeah.
You left Uganda when you were at the top. I heard you say it wasn't challenging anymore. Like you had basically.
I mean, look at it. Look at it up to now.
Yeah.
So, come on, your question.
For us hip hop fans, didn't like it.
If you didn't like the statement,
no, like you live in the country.
Yes.
Because during your presence, hip hop was really at the top.
Yeah.
And because you were at the top, many rappers and fans thought that that's where hip hop is. Indeed, it was.
Yes.
When you left, the reality hit us.
Yeah.
That hip hop was like nowhere to be seen. And that's when we saw Kidandali now starting to dominate.
I told you guys, Nabagamba, hip hop in Uganda, ye GNL.
Yeah. And now, because Kidandali was the thing now, the industry normalized it as hip hop. Because the hip hop.
Bano abantu abalinga bakola ensenene z'e Masaka, abakwata ensenene z'e Masaka, mwabalete ne mubafuula ba program director. Kati tebayawula hip hop nachi? Na hip hop na rap they don't have any clue. Bagamba bugamba and bayimba hip hop. So but they babigata wamue and they convoluted the whole thing. Waliwo abantu bebafuula ba program director nga tawulizangako wadde album 3 eza R&B. How do you expect that person to put an R&B artist up? Ajagamba ne bwana little yimba nga lwakabyo R&B ajamugamba yimba munga nga wa bandi akupewe erinnya awo kitegeera. So but it's a fact, like I think I owe an apology to fans. Nze nali manyi ndibalekedde in very good hands actually. I thought hip hop was in very good hands. Ne buli lwe mbeera nga nvuddewo, I also didn't know it, but I am a driving force. I'm a driving force to so many things. That even when I didn't realize my power, people kept on telling me my power, but I never really. Nze si kyekisooka ku gundi ku bwongo bwange when I wake up in the morning, I'm not trying to be the best rapper. When I wake up in the morning, I'm trying to accomplish a vision nga ya GNL. So when ndaba ngeyo vision katugimaliriza, what's the next thing ekigenda okuddako. So for me, I thought that when nalintuse I do a country tour every year. Bwe ngenda mu Bala, I'm seeing the same people. They are paying me the same money. People are all now starting to dress the same way. If we look, I see rappers, everybody's doing something. I think hip hop is good now. Banga waliwo time when there were only 2 rappers in the world, in Uganda. Era nga baba mentioninga ku ngalo ne baggwayo, actually 1 palm ne baggwayo. And I used to tell people, but why don't we sign people? When we get on, why don't you sign others? And the first thing I did was sign artists. Since then, I innocent and nyinji, but I was like, it's only right that you share your stage with some other people. And I expected the people I signed to also sign other people. Now all no realizing, oh my God. Even right now, I can tell you, I'm back home. Katogenda balavanga tebali active. I think it's because I bring out competition I'm a shit talker. Some people hate me for it, some people love me for it. And I'll walk into a room and you'll know that I'm great. And there's nothing you can tell me, I'm a great guy. oba feeling and still great, by the time I leave, you'll either be angry or you'll love me. And unapologetically. So I kind of bring that out of people. So looking at a club which is full of rappers, and I tell them the greatest rapper in Uganda has arrived. Take it how you feel. That alone encourages people that go, they are going to go look at themselves in the mirror and try to probably write their best rap they've ever written. Lyrics GNL. I bring the best out of people. I didn't even know that. Nengendo kulaba stories that come through, and even when I look back at my life, ngaye character yang. I remember trying in Club Silk one time. Ngaraga saze ko. And we were like, man, never get patulava. So the next thing I did, I went on the microphone and I was like, how many people do that nowadays? Until you go to the most happening bar and but you guys think Uganda doesn't have hip hop? I want to battle like three of you. They clear the floor. How many people still do that here?
They don't.
There's that kind of energy which is hip hop, which is like very competitive, which is missing. Nekataba competing anange bajifuna nkomyeo, or when I'm trying to do something and they were trying to touch the mesa, or but they're trying to also like kind of trying to match it up. It kind of looks, it either imitates, it's not genuine, it's not authentic. But I love the days when you used to have Babaluku Wuya Ja. Hey, Gundi. Atlas is across the corner mulava. Waliwo kampe eri etatwagala pretending nga buli ssaawa nti etwagala naye nga bwe bali beewana mbu balina ssente nga naye ate ffe abaana b'abaavu ffe abaziina ekitegeera tuzze buli omu apaakinze ebweru ate abaana b'abagagga bagiddemu kamotoka kamu. That's how I used to make people feel. Like you either hate me or you love me. At the end of the day, my fans used to love it. I don't think there was a lot of vubuka also attached to it. You get me? Because that now that's not how I move.
Yeah.
But it inspires, it creates the energy that's needed to rise to the top.
Actually, speaking on the money aspect,
yeah,
it's like rappers these days are not making money. It's like this is like plain truth. And then some of them think maybe it is hip hop that's not selling, and then they try to do the other kind of music, but they still don't make money. What do you think is wrong with them? Is it like the packaging? I don't know. Like, what would you have to say about that?
There's a book I've been reading, and that book talks about how no matter how good you are, the market where you are dictates how far you can rise. The market dictates how much you can rise. But also one thing that I've noticed, and working with some artists, is, man, for us when we are hungry, we are hungry. You don't want to stand in my way when I'm hungry. But for me, man, you know what? Ntekwa kuyingiza milioni 5. Nengenda nezinonya like in bed ndi went. I'm calling people ndi went like constantly. Nebembanga sinako airtime. I'm borrowing somebody's phone to steal airtime. At least I call people to make sure that happens. When seeing a transport, this is shameful, but having no transport was never anything that stopped me from getting where I wanted to be. Use your imagination. To use your imagination to figure out what I did. The sina transport agenda mu Kampala sina sente. How? But these kids, you tell them, I'm shooting a music video, ngenda bad dressing, I have leather jackets for you, gunda agenda kubera bakolako gundi. Man, I don't have transport. Fuck you. Are we dealing with kids here? Do you really want it? How bad do you want it? nze buli dduuka eryalinga lineetolodde nga neewolayo ebintu obanga bampolako transport. That's how badly we wanted it. But these kids, I don't think they want it that bad. It's like, it's too comfortable. It's too comfortable. You wake up in the morning, go in that data, you wake up in the morning, look at your phone. But first would be like, hey, shit. I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to be hungry. So for us, it was, I must record my album. But these kids first asked me, na budget your album. We didn't have budgets for albums. You go and create deals. You go and make friends. You go chill in the right places. For me, even when I was broke, I used to look fresh. So I used to be in places like, hotels. How are you going to find people to help you grow? These hotel lobbies, you can go to hotel lobbies and find people that can actually change your life. Go to where rich people hang. Invest in yourself. Actually, you don't even have to invest in yourself. Befriend the people organizing these joints. Like, I'm giving you free game. Like, I think for us, we were so hungry. Like, even right now, the things that I want to achieve in life, I still have a fire that even when I say I want to give up, because I no longer have to worry about what I'm going to eat the next day. Even when I say I want to give up, there's a dream that wakes me up, Nengamba. What? Whoever say. But I should be sleeping. J. Cole had a line where he says, I'm supposed to be on vacation, but this passion makes it impossible. Nze olwembera ku vacation nga script eteekwa okuggwa. Nina gye nteekwa okugenda. Naye nga mukazi wagamba. Twavudde mu gundi, toleeta computer, toleeta simu, toleeta ki. Naye nga you're finding a way, ofunye idea yakabi, you're trying to write it somewhere. You go to the bar, get a napkin, or find a what, trying to type it somewhere so that that idea is stored somewhere. You're hungry. There's a passion that's burning. And I don't know, passion is not taught, hustle is not taught. Like, you can't teach it to people. You either have it or you don't. That's what's lacking when I see people.
Okay. Fortunately for us, we have fans.
Yes.
Who see through this narrative media is trying to perpetrate like as if Chidandali is the thing now. But still, the conversation has been running since you left. And it has brought us to a point where now fans and some media personalities are saying that hip-hop is dead.
So there are two ways of looking at it. Who is the media? You people have too much respect for the media. The media. Waliwo media etatwagala, then there was a media that believed in us, that pushed us forward. So we rolled with the people that pushed us forward. Ochiraba. The media people, they didn't go to school for these things. But never sing about hip hop. They have no idea what hip hop is. They have no idea, even when they say it's dead, right? Mubuze oba album eyo yagiwuliriza ya hip hop is dead. Mubuze album yani. And what was actually the theme? Yali agwegera kuchi. Because that album happened years ago. Yeah. That's what coined that phrase. But there's a point there that the rappers rapping are failing to get to the audience, which the people are. Africans love to dance. Yeah. As a rapper, how do you find ways to know your market? Because to be a hip hop artist is not to be omuyimbi chokka. Actually, this is what I give credit for our artists for, right? Okubeera omuyimbi mu Africa, mostly ba rappers chemba nenyako bo. Nti ate bo balina examples nyingi nnyo ez'okoppa. But to be an artist, you must be a marketeer. You must know how to do your publicity. You must know brand management. You must know deal making. You must know sales. You must study your market. Are you trying to invent a market, or are you trying to change the market? Do you have a plan of what you're going to do, or in a plan nti bana abantu ngenda bakubiramu ekintu kyabwe kyebagala ekyalwaga kimu, but I'm going to show them who I am on the next record. Because from verse finanga missions where you're like, I'm going to steal Raga fans. Like I'm going on this show, but by the time I leave, all these Raga fans are going to be mine. Those are the conversations we'd have with Ngatutambuliramu War Bus. The Baboon Force van was called the War Bus. Today I'm going to steal like 100 fans. Ngamugenda maybe a club. Like they have Unplugged, you're going to feature, do a verse, you're like, today I'm stealing 100 fans. So you put it in symmetric. So if the market right now, yagala ngoma za kuzina, and they're confusing hip hop with that, why isn't somebody put it in a song? Why isn't somebody done both? Then according to KOYIKOYI olwagwa ne bangamba, hey, bantu better go kutwalako mu dance floor. I did chikankane, same guy. Ochiraba, you can do both.
Okay, speaking of the War Bus,
yes.
It brings me back to Baboon Forest.
Yes.
Back in the days when Monji and Big Tree were still here.
Yes.
Someone asked a question on Twitter a while ago, and I was like, how different would Ugandan hip hop be if prominent groups, say BFA and those groups that were there back in the day, were still here doing music? How different would hip hop be?
Man, I don't know, but that's a pretty picture. I think that's a very beautiful picture. But Baboon Forest, in its essence, wasn't really a group. Baboon Forest was a record label.
Yeah.
And actually, I was speaking to Monji a while back, and he told me, but we recorded very few songs. It was by design, because I just didn't want us to become Wu-Tang. I wanted everybody to have their individuality. That Big Trill could be booked for Saturday Night Lights. Monji could be booked for MTN. GNL can be booked to sing for OAU at the opening conference or to do poetry. Yeah. We're different. We're not really different. So what we say is just to bring all our people together and that energy between yemo, but it was a record label. Tulinganga team za mupira nti signinga Ronaldo navaona agenda ndazonyirako ewalala no signinga Messi n'achita n'agenda mu LA Galaxy or whatever, Miami, whatever. Yeah, so it's like that, but I think it would be a very, very pretty picture. And I'm grateful for those times that we had. Zakabi, I think someone was telling me they need to see the three of us back on stage. Wamo. Eberenga Super Bowl here, Uganda.
That was the next question.
It will be a pretty picture. I think it will be a great show. Yeah.
So should we expect you reconnecting soon?
The thing is that we always have more conversations than we have music. Yeah. Yeah. Like you see Trill asiba one. Trill makes beats always. But yeah, Trill last gave me a beat in COVID. Yaliya hustle and motivate. And it was a beautiful beat. The Julia Lingamba, and I had to do it. But I think we have more conversations than we do have music. We should get back to the music. Now that I'm here, I think with the right inspiration, we should be able to do something for the people.
All right.
Yeah.
Industry has been on fire, the hip hop industry. The US industry. Beefs here and there. I've been seeing you following the Kendrick and Drake thing.
Yes. Kendrick and Drake, yes. And now J. Cole is back.
Yeah, he's back in the thing. So what are your thoughts on beefs? Because speaking of beefs here in Uganda, I've seen rappers here trying to, recreate the beefs in the US, like trying to bring it here.
Like who has been trying to recreate?
Speaking of the KSO guy, Big Ben, has been trying to create quick chaos here and there.
With who?
With literally anybody.
But who?
Just throwing. But who? Just throwing.
Because I usually just see the headline, but then I don't see the follow-up.
Like, for the lack of better term, is making noise. We saw the guy in the north also trying to say something.
Who's the guy in the north?
Judas.
Yes.
Trying to say something, but the industry is not responding to them.
The industry is not responding.
It's not responding to them.
Yes.
Are you guys fearing beef or?
I think when you look at the Kendrick and Drake beef, they tell you these guys have been enemies for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
There's something there. It's real, it's authentic.
Yeah.
People could die. Take it. Yeah. That's real. These are two cities. Actually, there are three things people, when we begin talking about that beef, there is light-skinned brothers against dark-skinned brothers. There's that dynamic.
Yeah.
Then there is, you're a Canadian, you can't come to the US and show us your stupidity and call that hip-hop. And then there's the other thing of, you represent the version of hip-hop which is self-destructive. It's not helping us at all. And you're always quiet about black issues. Ochitege.
Yeah.
So you're the antithesis of what hip-hop was formed to be. But then Drake on the other side says, but people don't want to hear you preaching all the time. People want to have a party. But then the other guy is like, okay, people have a party and you're encouraging people to drink Percocet, to take Percocets, which are like pills, whichever. Is that the message you'd want your son to listen to in the future? And people are dying. There's an epidemic of people dying. There's a very big conversation which is even bigger than Drake and Kendrick Lamar, which hip-hop needed to have, that it's beyond just the two of them. But it's a conversation about, why do you keep quiet about police brutality? Yet you're one of the biggest stars who represents the genre. And why do you say that you're a rapper, but half of your albums you're singing? What's saying? Like, oh, you also sing, yeah, but when I sing, it's calling like a chorus. Go kubi album number like, and you're saying that you're the biggest hip hop artist in the world. So there's so many conversations being had in the middle there, and there's something real. You saw how far they went.
Yeah.
And I think they might even go much further. But when you look at, so for example, that question could be fired to me, that what's that you don't respond to people when they attempt to punch the clouds?
Right.
Where's the benefit? Of course, for me, it's a cost benefit analysis. If I'm to respond to somebody, so when Drake responded to Kendrick, $1 million were made. Money was made. The record labels were like, azemu. Money. Spotify was happy, Apple was happy, Interscope was happy, OVO was happy, merchandise was sold. Basically, the whole internet was on fire. Everybody actually was happy. Even the people who sell ads were happy. Even the people who had slow news weeks were happy. Advert was takeable. Everybody's discussing the beef. Even content people are making so much content for YouTube. YouTube is like, man, advertisers. Everybody is looking at the reactions. You need to put more money here. That's how the economy works. But now, you beef with there are guys who beef with Minga. He has been an upcoming artist for 12 years. Muganda wange. I'm not going to spend time with you. Nga mutabani wange ali waneno agamba tata. I would rather spend the time with this boy, Ochiraba. And then I will go read a book. And then I'll go to work, work on BFE or work on my company in the US. Go kudamu now and so on the nesonywa moko tonetuka. There's no actually the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Onyizeke nima wangane onyisebo the over katondo kamuto. Like,
but don't you?
And it's not real, actually. It's not real. What's the reason it's not real?
Don't you think it would be better for competition, like if rappers came together and were? Because I was watching an interview one day. Bebeku was talking about the BBC like beef. He said they planned it to chase out.
Who's BBC?
Bebeku.
They call themselves BBC?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Like they planned it to chase out the Congolese. Like,
who's the first B? Because that also matters.
I'll put on my favorite, but
there's a punchline in there, by the way.
Yeah. Like they orchestrated that beef to chase out the Congolese so that they dominate them?
I think they are lying. I think that's a lie. That's a lie. He says that they orchestrated the beef to chase out the Congolese.
Yeah.
Nah, that's
Then the hate
that's
came-
a lie.
then the hate came
That's what it does. By historian, they just Twitter revisionist history. You're now using a narrative to suit where you are. But we all know these people have very fragile. They are very insecure and they have very fragile egos.
Yeah.
That's what all musicians are. This beef is it's not real. Even Drake and Kendrick is not real. It's just fragile egos. Insecurities, fragile egos. And then you find the reason Atako, and then it becomes the reason why they're beefing. Tupac and Biggie, it's either a woman, a very insecure person, thinking that when they praise the other person, it makes him less great. It's very frivolous. So bano bagayi balinanga ono yategeka ekivulu yali akuba show ono n'agamba nze muyimbi omunene asinga najja n'aparking emotoka ye mu kivulu ky'oli makkati. Of course bafanze batunuulira ono this thing is disorganized. So this one is like, what the hell is wrong with this dude, man? It's disrespectful. Actually oye yakola ekyo yakikolako even one time in Rwanda ku show Lucky Dube. Lucky Dube is performing. He had performed on that show. Naja, he did the same thing through the crowd. Now disorganizing a crowd, Lucky Dube. Lucky Dube is a Rasta man. That's so kind of see the same humor. Now preaching and Abagamba, there's a thing called respect. Which take it? It's called respect. It's the respect you give to a fellow man. Oba omusinga oba tomusinga. Naye yali ku stage. Yalina akazindaalo. So for these people, they sat down and they played the chess and they chased away the Congolese. No, the Congolese were already gone because their promoter Tamukati yali ajijemu amaja. Era singa waliwo yali akyaleeta abakonge singa tebakyajakka tebafalipo tebaliwo. And that narrative of Simanyambo, one single-handedly, you can, ebyo single hero story, they are mythical. Single hero stories are mythical. Nange sola gama mbono nze naleta hip hop mu Uganda. It's a myth because bale yatandika okwogera Oluganda muteekeko ku eyo list nti yaleeta hip hop mu Uganda. Okitegeera. Then obale fire bongo le Lutaaya ne bajjajja abaatuulanga ku gundi nga bali mu kwivuga bali mu ngero. All those contribute to who I am today. So even okugoba abakongo, there's so many factors: the promoters, the change of government, the rise of radio stations, so many other artists abali bayimba before, and there's always national pride. The fall of Mobutu, the Kabiras, the wars. Uganda, and I'm like, there's a special kind of stupid, I think. Kubange enyonyi bwebeera ng'eri ku runway tosobola kugamba mbu nze njigobye okitegeera. Yeah.
But don't you think it would be better for hip hop as a genre if rappers started making noise?
There are so many ways of making noise, and noise is warranted, right? Noise is warranted. Naye I always ask my team that why what's the why? You make noise, then what? Yes, no, you make noise, then what?
All right.
Because at the end of the day, if it's not changing, because what we have munga bochereka hip hop is for see me, nze make noise, on social media, and I get clicks. That's what I want. And I get girls. Then I go back home. And then I do the same thing the next day. And I stay big. Then there are people who are like, okay, I'm creating this music to raise the black consciousness. Si just UG na Africa yonna. Nensi yonna. I'm continuing Marcus Garvey's dream musically. Katatoyo omugamba make noise, how? His making noise is going to be different even. My music is spiritual and serving a katonda nze. Kati you're making noise for praise or music noise for kuba ne ba rapper aba gospel nabo sibala bwe bakola kyakabi nnyo. And I'm not trying to put rappers down. I'm just saying there's so many ways. Making noise is just saying you only have one tool in your toolbox or in enyondo yoka. All things require different approaches. Oyinza okubeera nga wano weetaaga kaso, wano weetaaga chizo, wano weetaaga, but people always go, make noise. Like, nah, not everything's supposed to be smashed. And you could smash something which could actually be beneficial to you. Smashing a structure is all okuyamba. So there's some people who have like come against Minti Banvuma, but the wealth of knowledge I have could save them years from being upcoming artists. Like I could tell you one thing that could probably change your life forever. If we were to have a conversation, I think you'll be here in a year, and in 2 years you'll be here, 3 years you'll be here. Uganda would be yours, or would be making more money. But if you just used to make the noise, yeah, we all lose.
We are in a Grammy season.
Yes.
So you are a voting member.
Grammy member, sikyagala kumanyira. Member of Grammy. Yes.
Speaking of awards, lots of music lovers in Uganda consider Palm Awards as the first and the last like big award in Uganda.
Mm-hmm.
And talking of awards, for us hip hop, we have the Hip Hop Awards. Like every year, I see rappers.
We have awards in Hip Hop Awards in Uganda.
I think we have them.
Oh, I think I won one.
Yeah, it's actually there.
And award in Nanyinji. You forgive me.
Yeah, I see rappers complain every year, like literally every year.
Yes.
Like they are complaining about the process, like from from submissions to who votes to who chooses who. Like they complain about the awards.
I think everybody should form their own award. Awards are pointless. I'm a member of the Grammys as a political tool. I'm using my connections, I'm networking, and because I love music. But you get to realize that everything is politics in the world. If rappers are complaining that they're not being nominated, there's a reason you're not being nominated. You're a threat to people. Your music is so good, they're threatened. They'll give you recognition and you become more powerful than they are. Who owns the awards, by the way? You should find out who owns the awards. Then find out why you're not being nominated. Oyimba mu luzungu nawe, tukuwa award. Otufukire tabenja. Like, nowadays, the awards in Uganda, like, I laugh actually because there were times when we really wanted awards, wanted that recognition, and it's right for every young artist to want recognition. But once you grow and you begin looking at how the game is being played, nange nsobola otandikayo award buli mukyali wange ne muwaayo award. Actually tutandikeyo award yaffe, tutandikeyo award zaffe buli kyali waffe tumuwa award. And should we do it every year or every month?
Like I saw, was it in 2020, 2021? Back in the year.
And awards eziriwo ziri mu omugabite yeeseera. That's what they call it.
You are proposing to make...
Waliwo abantu abamu nga beba lyricist of the year. Every time is the lyricist of the year. But the album wasn't even heard by anybody. Awards are political. Ask yourself who owns the awards. Ask yourself who owns the awards and what are they for. Some people buy awards and nemo US mwenyini, by the way. For you to see Tyler everywhere winning Afrobeats, it's because her record label is working tooth and nail to make sure that she wins. Awards are for publicity. Awards are for record labels.
Yeah.
Awards are for publicity, awards are for record labels, awards are for promotion. Awards are rarely about music and musical talent. Yeah. There's no award area until now we went to everybody's house and then had a poll. All these polls are doctored. So awards is Uganda na dala. Binombu. It's smoke and mirrors, my G. Like, nokutegeka awards kwenyini mu Uganda is because it's very exploitative. Mu Uganda like they use the artists, use their work, nebateka mu rumemu ate babamanyira mbu gundi akusinze. Actually, I remember when I told people I no longer want to be nominated.
Yeah.
I no longer want to be nominated. Ompe ekigiraasi kyo nkikozesa eki. Nina amagiraasi ewaka mangi. I no longer need that shit. Actually, that's bwawadi bwonna obuliroko. Bantu bategeka bwawadi bwabwe ne bagenda ewa basponsa. Basponsa bo ne babawa ssente gwe ne bakuwa ekigiraasi. Tulaba nti obeera musiru. And it's the same thing happening with black people everywhere. Because my conversation is usually about black people and black empowerment also. Nti, we usually take the token. We take the token, the babawa statue. Hey, slavery has ended and you have given us a day called Martin Luther Day. But what changed in the structure? Ochiraba. Kati yoyo ye hip hop wa muwe Uganda na awards zaabwe. Those are your awards mu Uganda. Ochiraba. That they organize all these things, right? Gwe ne bakuwa ekigiraasi. Ne bakuwa ne piece of wood. But somebody has taken actual money from sponsors that can build a house. Ya abaana be ne basoma ne banywa amata. Gwe embuzi oli eyo. Gwe asasudde eza studio. Gwe asasudde engoye. Gwe bakyabanja eza video. And the next day bakubanja akapya. But you went and attended and graced the event. You got likes. You made noise. You made noise several.
There is no value,
but then you have a problem at home. Obuzibu buzze waka n'olinda car wash. Anti munange twali ekigiraasi kyo bakuweemu ssente. Baba wa awards zammwe. Don't nominate me anymore. Sazaagala. Sure, I want to look at actually even on the Grammys this time, I didn't put in any song. Because by Nigeria, bali mu campaign, in their campaigns bagamba, bruh, you're a voting member? I got my boy. Cover me. Biebali mukati. It's all so political. When you look at the music industry and the entertainment industry, it's smoke and mirrors, my G.
All right.
Yeah.
I think I'm asking my last question.
Yeah.
And it will be about Nsimbi.
Yes.
The film.
The film? Yes. The Nsimbi film?
Yes. How is the movie doing?
The movie is doing well. It has been everywhere mu buli kumpi festivals, tuyingirenga festivals ataano.
Yeah.
But for us, we did that because we love music and we love film and we love to see how we can grow. And Nsimbi is a family name that tuchikola chitunyomira. Nti I love working with my partner. She loves working with me. We love the work that we work on. It's culture. It's cross-cultural. It tells a story. Yeah, and hopefully, we want to do a premiere in Uganda, actually, before we even go out. We're going to premiere first, okay, bere one in UG. And I want my people to be the first people to watch it, to get moving on to other things. And I'm interested in doing also other projects, Ewaka. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much. Shout out to the teams that always work with me that, you know, I'm a very interesting person to work with. You get me?
Yes.
But I thank you to everybody who has been so special in my career. For my fans who love my music, who love me, when I speak candidly, I speak the truth. I'm a man who speaks the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So, shout outs to you, my fans of Baboon Forest. I hope that I can serve you and communicate my music better. I'm not here for a long time, I'm here for a good time. That's what we're here for. Thank you, and see you, the forest is forever.